All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. Today is Tuesday, June 24th. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. First, I think we can take an attendance, just to get kicked off.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Will do. Holly Thurston. Here. Angelica Kanganis. Here. Carla Elliott. Here. Richard Klein.
Here.
Michael Aronson. Here. And Chair Roy.
Here. All right. So just for the record, Richard Klein will be is an alternate, will be a voting member this evening. Bill Murray, I think we're expecting to be a little bit late. And with that, so I think then the next item would be the approval of the minutes from the May 27th meeting, which I was not at, but I will ask for a motion to approve those. We're here. Actually, do we have a quorum? I think we do. I think the only absent member for me and Phil, so I think we have 4 members who are there. So a motion from somebody who's here to approve those minutes.
Michael Aronson. Motion. Minutes. Holly Thurston. Second motion.
Right. If any of those 4 object, do carries, yes, approved. But we're actually going to jump right into it then. So the first item up is going to be 133 State Street. This is a BAR application for a 2-family house with on-site parking. So I guess we have the applicant here, with the applicant on Zoom.
See anyone?
I don't see anybody.
Can we,
recognized.
oh, there you go,
I see
Victor.
a
All
hand.
right.
All right, and so Victor, if you can turn on your microphone and your camera ideally, and introduce
Hi, how you
yourself.
doing?
Hey, how are you? Just so you give yourself just an introduction so you know who you are, what your relationship is to the project. And then we'll share drawings up on the computer screen here, and you can kind of help direct in terms of what you want us to look at.
Okay, perfect.
Your floor.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Eduardo on the. I don't know if he's here yet.
Board of, I can bring. Whether he likes it or not. Oh, he's fine. Uh-oh. Eduardo, I'm trying to promote you to a panelist. Try.
1 second, let me see.
Okay, we'll just allow you to talk. How's that?
Okay, so Eduardo, you're now in the meeting. Again, so same thing, if you could unmute yourself and turn on your camera. And same as I said to Victor, just when you speak, just introduce yourself and your role in the project. Victor, maybe you could introduce yourself and Eduardo so we can kind of get
Yes.
this ball rolling.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, my name is Victor. I'm the owner of 133 Estate.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to call you guys.
We can hear you, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. What's the
Vic-
question again? I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear you.
No worries. Victor, can you give us your last name and your address?
Mejia. My address in Austin is 133 Estate.
15? 133.
133,
Oh, okay.
133, correct? The
Yeah.
project.
I heard it wrong both. Okay.
And Eduardo,
Yes,
sorry, so can you just introduce yourself as well for the group? So, and if you are able to turn on your camera, that would be helpful as well.
I don't see where is it. Just trying to find out where it is.
Oh, it should be on the bottom on your left side.
I don't see things over here. Let me see, try to,
That's because he's not a panelist.
uh,
Okay, it's okay. So we'll keep going. So if you could,
yeah, for some reason, I'm not home. That's the problem that I don't know.
it's okay. We're not gonna worry about that, but we can
Okay.
start working our way through the project. Okay,
Yeah, as long as you can hear me, probably that would be the best thing. Yeah.
Okay,
Just
sorry.
yeah.
You need it from Eduardo?
Eduardo Galarza, what is your relationship to the project?
Yes, I was, as an architect.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. So which, Eduardo, will you be walking us through the drawings? We're gonna put them up on the screen.
Sure.
So if you could give us your overview of the project, we're sharing our screen. Are we sharing? Yes, we are.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. So, yeah, please walk us through it.
Yeah. The project is supposed to be for a two-family residence with a ground floor for parking area and some private storage area and the room for mechanical space in the back.
Okay.
That's the ground floor. And then on the second and third floor are two units with 3 bedrooms, each one an open kitchen and a living room in the front. And they're both the same, basically the same layout. With a
Okay.
balcony in each one, yes.
Maybe we can move to the elevations.
That's the section. That's a long section. That's basically what it is.
We have elevations on this set. I know there's a couple of different sets in there. There's
Yeah,
we-
that's it.
Actually, I
That's the
think
other one. That's the last page.
there's two drawings I know that have,
It's probably the best.
start with
That's
that.
the rendering.
Yeah, that's the line.
That's the rendering, right?
Right, can you kind of go through materially, what you're proposing here?
Yes, the idea is to have this entry with 2 garages, 2 doors. We're doing this dark material for the doors with brick front, with an accent on the corners. And then we have, and the front is gonna be all pavers. And only the landings is gonna be concrete and stone. All the walkways are gonna be pavers. The color of the brick, as you can see, is very light beige. And the siding on the sides, just the front is brick, the rear and the sides are on color light beige, tan color.
Okay, and we'll pull those drawings up in a second, but maybe let's just stick with this drawing while we're
Yes.
here. Can you just describe the material, the brick, the coining on the sides of on the corners of the building? Is that material, is that stucco? Is that like a?
It looks like stucco, but it's actually it's a brick accent.
It's a brick accent.
Yes.
Oh, so those are actually, if you zoom in on those, maybe I'm seeing that more here.
Yeah,
Those are,
this is probably the rendering effect, but in the drawings are more clear. They're all brick.
okay, and how about the lintels and
The lintels are they're all brick as well.
so that,
The same color as the accent on the corners. It should be. They're not, they're not expressed like that.
okay, and what about the balconies, the fascia around
The
the balcony?
balconies, yeah, they're not concrete, but they're wood material, hang from the structure, and with the railings that they're shown up there.
Is that, what kind of rail, is that a metal railing or a?
It's metal railings,
Metal one.
unless the owner wants to, because that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, the metal is gonna be metal.
Yeah.
It looks like a aluminum or a. Can you just describe what the material is? Is it, I mean, is that rendering accurate in terms of what you're proposing? In terms of the
Yeah.
design?
That render is very much close to what we wanted.
Right, and you said that the balconies are wood, but is that fascia, is that also, are you proposing to have that be wood, or is that supposed to be a?
It's got to be a cover material. It's gonna look, very solid.
Yeah, it's gonna look on that side. I think we're gonna do. It's gonna look like concrete, but it's gonna be done with the IFIS system.
Right, so it's a stucco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stucco.
And is there no drip edge or anything on the top or from the roof, or is that, or will the stucco be straight through the way that you're showing it?
Well, the idea, I think that probably, he wants to stick with stucco. I think I agree, because it would blend the whole thing. But on the plans, that would be his, the owner's decision.
That's fine. But just keep in mind, we're asking these questions because our board is evaluating the, the facade and the design of the exterior of the building, so. To the degree that there are decisions that need to be made, we need you to make them before we can approve the project.
Okay, so Victor, you think that it's gonna be stucco on those things? Even
Well-
in the cap at the above?
I don't,
Well,
I don't.
that on top, that's gonna be, it's gonna be,
Excuse me, I don't want to have a design conversation in here. I think that one of the things that we're doing is we're starting a conversation and putting some questions out there. To the degree that these are not items that you guys as a team have decided on yet, I think it's fair for you to come back. Hey, let's
yeah,
look
no,
at
you,
our
yeah,
project.
we don't want to waste time, so we're gonna go with whatever you decide. I'm not gonna change anything. We've been waiting for this for almost 2 years, so whatever is in the drawing, whatever they approve, we're gonna go with it.
Let's look at these secondary facades, because I think that you started, Eduardo, I know you started talking about the sides.
Yeah. As you can see, the sides are, plank. So, the sides on the back. All right, the sides on the back. Just the front is gonna be, brick.
So it's is it a hardy plank linear siding? Is it a aluminum or a vinyl?
Again, I think as an architect, I decided there's gonna be a hardy plank and the color, it was based tan. That's the basic idea.
I think it says tan vinyl on the elevation, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, vinyl siding, which is.
And then just, I can ask one more question. I do want to open this up to the board to ask questions on this, but then, underneath the siding, there's a concrete hatch on the, what I'm assuming is the exposed foundation wall. So how is that being rendered? What's that material?
That's gonna be
That's
stucco.
stucco, right?
Okay, I would like to open this up to the board just to start walking through and asking questions here.
Okay,
I have a question with regards to the parking, just to confirm, is the intention for the left garage to be for one apartment and the right garage to be for another? Since it seems like the cars will kind of block each other when they're entering.
the parking,
Yeah, on the ground level, it seems like the 4 spaces, like each side garage, the cars would block each other. So is the intention that 2 spaces to the left would be for one apartment and 2 spaces to the right would be for the other apartment, so that they can coordinate it themselves, or? I mean,
there's a no, entry from the garage. You gotta come out from the driveway.
And also for clarity, we are only doing BAR on this one, so
Oh, yeah.
there's no site plan review on it. They're fair questions to bring up, but I want to make sure we're staying focused on what we are able to kind of opine on.
I couldn't understand the question. I couldn't- Well,
I didn't ask it yet. So I'd like to go back to the rendering and if we look at the facade.
okay,
I
yeah,
have a question about cornice. I mean, it seems, seems a little flat. And I don't know what minor architectural detail can be added to maybe make it a bit more interesting, provide a little bit more depth or context to how the facade reads. The rest of it, I think looks good. It's just sort of that blank space and it's a really high ceiling or is there an attic up there? What's,
no, there's nothing, there's no attic. There's just, it's just the pitch of the road because it's a long building.
There's a
That-
parapet,
that
right?
it-
Section, you're showing a parapet facing the street,
oh, there's a
right?
parapet.
Yeah, has some parapet. It's about, probably, about a foot of parapet around it.
And it's, I'm assuming it's a flat roof. Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's the back. I think that's what yeah, can we show the section actually? That would be helpful. That was in the. You can see it there, I guess. Go up.
Yeah, that was the first rendering, the color rendering as was asked to do.
You would automatically just go to slide that scroll up and move there. No, it's not showing on this one.
Does look like it's.
You can see it on there's a little bit of a pitch on the roof. There's side parapets as well, correct? You have parapets on the side walls and on the front wall, and then there's a gutter on the back. Is that correct?
Did you ask me a question again?
Yeah. You have parapet on the front, and it looks like you have two sidewall parapets that are a little bit lower, and then a gutter on the back side. So the entire drains to a gutter on the
Yeah,
rear.
the parapet is on the three sides, front on the sides, and the back there's no parapet because it goes right. The water runs straight to the gutter.
Correct, but there are sidewall parapets.
Yeah, there's
There.
2 liters on the side, on each side. Yes.
Yeah, we zoom in on that rear elevation to see those leaders. Are they
That's
shown?
it. Yeah, you can see the rear elevation. That's it. You can see it's just the roof there. It's a pitch roof.
Are those tied into the storm drain? The leaders?
That again?
The leaders tie into a storm drain in the back?
Yes. All the way down to the ground. Yeah.
Splash pad, so, it's a splash pad, sure.
Okay.
So it's like what you said, it's not doing.
Your question, I think was relevant. If we can go back to this, to the street facade, now that, you know, you have a better lay of the land, now that you've seen that parapet. Just that, how it's not, right? Yeah.
Right.
Is that an aluminum coping that you're showing?
The what?
On the top of the parapet wall, is that, you know, Michael's question, I think, was referring to the cornice or lack of, your kind of like how the building ends up at the top. I think you have it.
What?
Aluminum cornice, an aluminum coping, cap, is that what you're showing, the top?
It's supposed to be aluminum at the top. Yes, aluminum cap.
I don't know if there's a way to, I mean, you've got this contrasting brick color, which you're using in the coins and apparently on the lintels and sills. Which I still have questions
Well,
about.
it should be very much, you know, it should match the whole thing, as you can see on the rendering. Yeah, even in my own render, this was an artist rendering, but my rendering also shows that the accents are of the same color.
I think that's not the question. I think the question is just this very thin, this very developed and I, you know, I think nice.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. I
Very
think,
thin.
yeah, you may be right. I think it would be nice. You have probably a double line, so you might get an accent to the corner, to the top. Maybe
Right.
that's what you wanted. Yeah, I
Brick.
agree that, you know, it looks a little thin there.
Yeah, something there to give it a little bit more heft.
A little bit more, a little wider. Yeah, we can say, but I agree, they should be a little wider.
Okay.
Probably
Um,
the same color as the lentils on the windows, probably. It should match, at least that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, probably like, I would say like 8 inches, right? At least.
That's about 8 inches, yes.
I mean, right now, it looks like you're cutting one of those corners, like you've got these points, very kind of hefty, and then on top, one of them is something slimmer, so that might be also just a portion that you can borrow from, but I'll let you figure that out and
Yeah.
that's what you think makes sense. I also would like to understand a little bit better the materiality of those lintels, because I think it looked nice. I thought it was like a cast stone or something like that, and if it's brick, and it's also with the windowsills.
I mean, if you know, if you guys want and it's something that you guys will vote for it, I can put a stone on the corners and also on the top of the windows if that's was needed. You know, we want to start with this project and we don't want to keep delaying. So if that's what you need, I can do that. It looks like a stone on the corners and also on a stone on top of the windows. So if that's the case and that's how you guys want it, I don't mind. I can do that.
I don't know that we're telling you what material we want you to use. We're just trying to understand what it is that you're proposing, what that would look like. I think the design may be totally appropriate in that regard. I just don't see that represented in what you've given us.
Yeah, the rendering is a little bit difficult because, you know, that's that's a renderer's version.
We go back to the building elevations.
That's right.
I understand, but the purpose of a,
That's not this.
I don't think, I think the other sheet, the one that says. Yes, materials and finishes, that was in the part, developed drawing. So the front, the actually, the.
The way up, yeah,
Yeah,
right there.
it's fine, yeah.
It's right there, right. That's right.
They said that's gonna be painted black, that cap.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
What is that above the second floor balcony? There's an additional.
that was supposed to be like a cover for,
Yeah, but yeah,
like
we
a
took it out.
canopy.
Yeah, we
Oh.
took it out.
It's not actually.
It's not in the rendering, right?
So I think the renderings and the plan should match.
agreed. And I'm not suggest, I know that the comment, Victor, regarding, we'll just do whatever material you see here. I think you have, I think, some degree of material on this drawing, and if you're showing soldier course brick above the windows. And kind of like a row lock sill, and I think that may be appropriate. I think that the question that Michael had regarding the top of the building is just as evident on this drawing as it was in the in the rendering.
The ring, right?
I think that you need to have some resolution to that. I think, I don't know if I have any real comments on the sides or the back. Visibility, who can see the sides, the back, we kind of get a sense just context wise, maybe Google Earth.
Yeah, well, there's a site photo
Yeah,
that shows the adjacent properties. Color photos of site right there.
right, so it's pretty locked in with those three properties.
And I think it would be good to clarify whether it's hardy plank or vinyl that is going to go on the sides of the property. There seem to be some.
Once this building, like this photo is probably a good one, if you're walking down the sidewalk, how far away are you from the sides of the other two houses? And the reason I'm asking the question is to get a sense of how much of that you'll see and how much of that siding you'll read as you're walking down the street.
Right, basically, I think the minimum distance between buildings is about 6 feet on the side. But we have 3 feet off from each side on our building.
3 feet on your side and then 3 feet on the other side of the lot line.
Yes, that's correct. All right, that's what I assume, yes.
Other board questions on this? Okay, do we have a motion to open the public hearing on this?
I really a second motion.
The objections, there are none. Is there anybody here to the public to speak to this application? Don't see anybody. Is there anybody on Zoom who's here, who would like to speak to this application? You can use the hand raise function. And I'll ask Maddie if the village received any feedback.
We did not.
Okay. So before we adjourn the public hearing on this, my kind of sense on this is, I think that I think it's an attractive design. I think that there's some good components of it. I think it's not fully resolved. And I think it would be helpful to see a rendering, whether that's even if it's like a color rendered, drawing elevation that matches the materiality that are shown in the line drawings. But the top of the building, I think, is something that's a bit of a question. I think, I don't know if there's any other feedback that we want to give to the applicant. The plans on the,
This was originally the intent.
oh, yeah, exactly, right,
Plans and their elevation should.
correct. So, I mean, first off, Victor and Laura, does that make sense? You understand what we're asking for?
Well, I think, you're asking about the top cap on the building. I agree they should be a little wider, at least to match, a bit at 8 inches to match the lintels of the windows. I agree, we can do that.
Yeah,
The only issue.
that's not an issue.
And then you'll provide us a rendering which is more accurate to the design that you.
I think, might I suggest that they provide you with the plans and the rendering that they match, because one of the
Yeah.
things in the plans themselves, they said they were removing, and that's why you saw the rendering differently.
Right.
So the two need to coincide as opposed to directing them to show the rendering matching the plans.
I think it was kind of a mixed information. on
Right, the
the-
rendering in the plans and the elevations in the plans to the degree that those are off, because it's, and then with the design critique or the kind of the understanding at the top of the, I don't want to get into dimensions. I think that's up to you to kind of look at it, work it out and come back to us, show us something that answers that concern. So with that, can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing that we're in? Right.
Michael Lawrence, a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Richard, my second.
All right, any just last question from the applicant before we adjourn? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn the application?
Oh, you're the.
Any objections to that? Or none? Great. All right, so I think you guys have your kind of instructions, so hopefully next time we see this again, we can kind of work our way through. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so next up on the agenda, we're going to move to 179 Main Street. And this is a request for conditional use approval for a dance studio. Indoor recreation and entertainment is the use type. So we have the applicant here. So you guys can come up, introduce yourselves and actually Valerie, after just let us know what you're for, and then I'll ask Valerie just to give us a little color.
Sure, hi. So I'm Carmela Garmani,
I'm Andrew Harris.
and we represent Voo Pb Dance Company, that's our LLC, and 179 Main Street. So we're here for the conditional use application, for some internal, indoor, mostly cosmetic work to transform the third floor space into a Latin dance studio. For the last 2.5 years, we've been teaching salsa classes around Westchester. So we have students, we have a good following going, and we live here in Ossining. So we wanted to kind of open up the space here, rooted in the community. The changes are fairly cosmetic, like I said, they're internal. It was the removal of 2 receptacles and data jacks overseen by a licensed electrician. And beyond that, it was cosmetic changes to the flooring so that it could work for us and putting up mirrors.
Awesome, thank you. And so Valerie, just in terms of our evaluation of this request, can you give us a little?
Yeah, so they're just here for a conditional use approval, so basically their use itself and just making sure that it's not gonna be, problematic with, the overall neighborhood, that type of thing. If they do not need any board of architectural review, they don't need any site plans. And the parking regulations, because it's a non-residential, they're taking a non-residential use and turning it into another non-residential use, there's an automatic 10-spot waiver. So they do not need to provide any parking or any payment for parking. So it's really just primarily for conditional use.
Got it. Board members' questions?
That was good to me.
Great.
Are the first and second floors of that building currently occupied or?
Yes, first floor is a boost.
Right.
The second floor is Oasis Spa, and I think the building itself, it has 9 total units. It's mixed commercial and residential.
Oh, there are residents.
So the second floor?
Oasis Spa.
I'm saying.
That's the sign of that.
Fair. Okay, do we have a motion to open the public hearing on the application?
And Clarence, a motion to open the public hearing. Probably be a second motion.
Is there anybody here who would speak to this application? Don't see anybody? Is there anybody on Zoom? You can use the hand raise function if you would like to speak to this application. I do not see any hands, and Maddie, was there any feedback from the community? There was not. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Jumping in.
Right, so I mean, I think that we had our conversation, I think it's very consistent with the kinds of businesses and uses that we see on Main Street, and we love petitions, so I don't really have an objection to this additional use. We have a motion to approve the application,
Richard Klein, motion to approve.
Michael Aronson, second.
and we do a roll call.
Sure can. Richard Klein,
Approved.
Michael Aronson, aye. Holly Thurston, aye. Angelica Kingenis,
Hi.
Carla Elliott,
Hi.
and Cheryl Roy.
Five. Very good. Good luck, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good night.
Okay, so believe it or not, this is the final item on our agenda. So this is the planning board 04/2025 DAR 13-2025. And this is our first look at a request for site plan conditional use payment in lieu DAR, all for the construction of a mixed use building at 209 11 Main Street. So we have a applicant representative here, so you can introduce yourself, and I think we'll use this evening for you to introduce the project, kind of get our feet wet and understand what's going on.
Good luck, Chairman Roy, members of the board, and staff. My name is Robert Stanzial, architect of Rochelle. And I'm here tonight, along with the representative of the owner of the project, Matalawi, also Rich Cordone of John Mark Consulting. So we're here proposing this significant project here, actually for 209, 211 Main Street for a three-story mixed-use building, commercial and residential. It's on a site that's about 8,200 square feet, current vacant site. It's been vacant for some time now. And it's located in a DC, also a downtown overlay zone, historic and architectural design district as well. So our proposed structure is going to be 3 stories in height from Main Street, with commercial use on the ground floor as well as residential. But the building will be 4 stories in height as the property drops off in the rear. And also in the rear, but municipal parking lot that's existing. We also give access to parking area that would be below. We had met with the board trustees about a year ago. There was this thing, so it was not that they were amenable to the idea, so we forwarded that as part of using earlier today. So I mentioned the building on the ground floor will be commercial. There'll be 4 apartments behind that, and on the upper levels there'll be additional mix of studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments on the upper levels, and there'll be a total of 16 apartments in the building. The parking areas I mentioned will be in the lower level, so that they can be accessible from the municipal lot in the rear. We are shy 1 parking space, but we also utilize, it's proposed to utilize stacking units to achieve 28 spaces that we do have. We need to have 29 spaces. That's not an ideal situation. Originally, we had this building designed where we had 2-bedroom units, but when the zoning regulation changed, increased the amount of habitable space required for apartments, we redesigned and we lost a bunch of 2-bedroom apartments, so it didn't quite work out as nicely as it did before. So we're here, as I mentioned, on modernizing conversation as well. If we need to purchase more spaces from the village, if that makes the situation better, staff spaces to use it. And that's that discussion sometime in the future. Right. So the building itself that has also the lower level will be a sanitation area. There's there'll be refuse chutes in the building, and they'll be going to a compactor in the basement. So there'll be private carting that'll pick up the compacted refuse out of the rear of the building coming from the municipal line as well. The commercial building will utilize participating in the side of the street. Private building. Sanitation unit. Floor plans, as I mentioned, Maddie can show those. You can see here at Main Street, see commercial space. It runs covering almost the entire side. Different.
What's the square footage difference of this?
It's a little over 1,500 square foot. And on the right-hand side, on the right-hand side of the building, in the lower left of the screen would be the entrance to the residential apartments. As I mentioned, we see apartments behind. It's-
I'm sorry, the entrances from
Main Street.
Main Street.
Yes, correct, yes.
Right.
Yeah, that we give access. The, go to the next one, Matty, but again, these are typical floor plans. So the building itself, again, we're still working on this, but this is, we're trying to keep the building simple somewhat. Taking in some of the elements of the surrounding buildings, beautiful buildings that are consistent. We currently utilizing a great facade, cast over the future. Works as well. Some limestone panels on the lower level. And we're looking right now utilizing some black frame marble. So double. So, yeah, ultra great in downtown. The as you can see on scroll down a little bit on the map, on the side of the building and in the rear also, since we have a 15-foot first floor to second floor ceiling height, floor to floor difference. We're hoping to incorporate some large and very tall windows, so this apartment sort of loft-like to make it more attractive. Since a couple of undersized and have a great view between some of the windows.
Is that a light well next to the still?
It's another building next to it. We started, just briefly, that's our building. John Mark Consulting, Rich Gordon will speak a little bit to that, but we've started working on some of the engineering. Village engineer, we're looking to utilize, take some of the utilities for the building, Main Street. Do our sanitary sewer to go out towards the back of the building. It's parking lot, there's a connection back there. You want Rich to speak about that, this would be just.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have someone here, it'd be helpful just to get a lay of what you're planning right now.
Yes, yeah. No, right, that's. Rich, yeah, they have that plan.
Which one am I looking for?
James sees plans and.
Yeah.
So, I guess the best drawing to speak to.
I'm so sorry, would you mind if you repeat?
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rich Gordon with JMC. I'm project manager, and I'm here tonight to speak to you guys about, our project that we, development this week. Village of Austin. So, I think it would be best to, so right now, this is our, site layout plan. As you can see, it's basically a property line to property line development. We are proposing some, to kind of redo the sidewalks and such in the existing right of way. The New York State right of way, it's a little bit, it could use a little bit of some attention. We're spending all this time making this next in the building. So we're going to relay the existing pavers and clean everything up there. We're proposing to, if you want to go to the next sheet, shows our utility connections. It's right order. Okay, next sheet. There it is. Okay, so we are proposing to go across Main Street, which is near state DOT US Route 9. So we are proposing a water service connections there as well as a gas service connection. This does require New York State DOT permit. That going into this, something to process. As you can see, we have our sanitary sewer connection as well as our storm connection at the back of the building there. Goes through the municipal lot. We are proposing a green roof on the roof of the building. That will help us handle some of our stormwater mitigation there. Get us some attention and the project value. So then what we'll do is after that, we'll drop it down into the ground floor here. Run everything out. As I said, this is pretty much it's a property line to property line development. It's kind of, we have a limited toolbox that we can pick from. To take from some measures.
So that was the easement that you saw on the prior drawings. the utilities there?
This
Parking
is,
lot?
this is a proposed easement that we're looking
Yeah.
at town. Storm and sewer work best under gravity. It's gonna be very, very difficult for us to have to tie this and this out to the streets. That's one of the biggest things that we are going to do with the town. I'm sorry, make sure that. Acceptance, right? So we will be preparing the stormwater management plan. Will be in accordance with the 2024 New York State EC storm. And storm design management. So we do have, roadmap ahead of us that we will pursue to satisfy the conditions.
Yeah, no, I think this is super helpful. It's a super challenging site, right?
It is challenging. Like I said, property line to property line. It looks like, oh, great, you threw this box under, now you just draw the lines. There's a lot of pieces that go into that we have to
That's what the art.
shake out.
Sure.
The architects do that. The architects do that, us engineers just take like.
I just want to mention something like
Yeah,
that. When
please.
when you look at those utilities in the back, and I know you're gonna eventually have to set some easements and stuff, just be aware of that wall that's there too.
Yeah, there is an existing wood retaining wall that we did note there.
Yeah.
We anticipated having to redo that. But if you look at where I did cross that wall, it's only about 2.5 feet high.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to line it up when I was looking at the street view. I couldn't really tell where you were at.
I was trying to get it, I was counting down the 4 parking spaces, so I'm only about 1.5, 2 feet high. So to be honest with you, we may be able to just tunnel under it. But, we'll take a look at it. If it has to be reconstructed, it's something that we're, that's.
Where is that retaining wall?
It's kind of running from
It's
left to right.
North,
Um,
you'll see there's that dog leg up there,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Let's go up a little bit.
right? Yes.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
the wall.
right up over
there.
there.
Yeah, it's like a railroad style wall that steps down as the street comes down.
Yeah, for that. And that's actually connecting to the utilities on Broadway there, like across from
It
the,
is.
from the
It is.
the rec center.
Yes, that's correct. There's an existing drain inlet there, and then there's an existing sanitary sewer there. So we will be connecting to both of those.
And that whole area would be,
Yes. You would have to do some excavation. Unfortunately, the excavation's not very deep right there. I'm running my pipes at about 4 feet deep, which is kind of minimum, so we're able to, it's gonna be something that they'll be able to plate at the end of the day, and they're gonna work, just like it, as any contractor would be working in the street, make it safe for the public and everything else. So,
have you guys, this is maybe more of an architectural question, just looked at the buildings that used to be there and some of the historic photos of how the site was occupied or anything?
I saw one photograph. I hadn't seen, much more than them, Mr. Chairman, so.
Okay.
Sort of take a look.
But I think the Austin Historical Society is much.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yeah.
The building inspector showed me a photograph. So I can take it.
Yeah. That's just the side.
Yeah, we have plenty of challenges on this site. We're concerned about the buildings and chased and things like that. So, yeah. I'm sorry.
And how much site work has been done just in terms of site investigating or any soil samples or any preliminary engineering? work?
Yeah, we're about to engage in some test work now.
I guess, Tony, you started some of your comments, are there any other major kind of concerns that I think the applicant is gonna have to be focusing on that we should be looking at as we start to do this?
They mentioned a lot of it, the DOT, they're gonna have to go through that. We have to go to the health department, given the flows that are, it's gonna be close to that 2,500 gallons. Working with the fire department, that's it's a building, it's only got two sides, we kind of mentioned that. Utility grids, one thing I was wondering about, if the village code states that residential uses are required to be among non-residential uses.
Yeah,
So I didn't know how to
in
park.
the past that they've allowed, as long as it goes, good showing.
Yeah.
That's typically the thing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know, I was thinking how's the parking lot.
So like the ground level residential that's behind this over the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's probably the second floor, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's just something kind of a question on, but all the engineering stuff, like you said, I understand it's the variance, and you haven't gotten into that, so a lot of the comments are stormwater. That in design as it progresses, that stuff on the city.
Right.
I would start with the health department.
Yeah.
Like, as quick as you can. Right.
There was some other zoning issues, concern that came up in the memo, about backup space. You can show us on the height of the building. I done an analysis, we're okay. I submitted to the building department previously because, it was asked first, we're okay, we're actually at 45 feet is our average height, so. Wow, so. In that analysis, we're having to do some.
Yeah, looking at the guidance, I didn't see that somewhere.
Right, I had, right, so I think it'll be
I can
good,
provide some.
right, so if, while the building department probably did look at it, we need it as part of the document.
Absolutely.
I think a couple other things with the zoning, so let me just talk about what you're gonna need approvals for, because you're gonna have to coordinate a lot of this.
Right.
So we are gonna need to do, the board's gonna have to do, seeker review, and this is an unlisted action. I would recommend maybe, considering doing a coordinated review. I know, since Westchester County has a number of permits, it might just be easier to do a coordinated review with them. They prefer that if possible. And then also in terms of, if we still have to figure out if you need any finalize your zoning, whether you need any zoning variances. So if that is the case, then it would be easier to do a coordinated review. You also need historic preservation approval. So again, another reason. And then village board approval will need to be granted for both the easement as well as the access for the parking lot. And then you also need a referral from the EAC for the local waterfront revitalization consistency. So we can coordinate when the best time to go to these different boards, but at this point, I think we need another round of probably submissions in a little bit more detail before you're ready to start with that. The other thing too is on your plan, well, you mentioned both the VC and the downtown overlay, but it's not both, it's either or. And I think you probably would fit under the VC as opposed to the downtown overlay in terms of what you're proposing.
Yeah, that's what we're planning on.
Right, so I would remove anything that refers to the downtown overlay and it's just the VC. Then the other thing I just wanted to note with, you just mentioned about the habitable square footage, it's actually livable square footage, right? So technically, some of your, I was just looking, some of your one bedrooms easily could be two bedrooms, so I'm just kind of putting that out there.
Second level.
Yeah, so it's livable now, it's not habitable. So they did increase the square footage, but it allows for the gross square footage of the apartment.
Thank you.
And then just a couple other things with the zoning, that's where like we raised a couple things with parking, so that's where we probably want to just verify, and also with Joe, and we can take a look at them again, because if you do need variances, then we're gonna want to get you to the zoning board. And then this board might want to consider also having like a joint meeting with the HPC, so that, you know, you're not giving the applicant one direction in terms of the architecture, and then the HPC giving the applicant another direction.
Well, so research.
Yeah.
So
So,
we can connect you with the village historian also.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
so that's why I recommend, like, let's start working on some of the environmental pieces, getting the design as to how you want it before we start sending it out to the various boards, because you might then find yourself just being in front of boards, and we wanna try to avoid that and make this.
And there's gonna be some, obviously, some feedback that we need from those other boards and
Right.
part of our secret evaluation.
Right.
So, especially EAC and the start.
Just like, okay, stackers.
Yeah.
It's-
Because we don't know how that, that's the other thing, like that. We kind of did a quick takeoff on the apartments, and it's like, well, if you had a certain amount of 3 bedrooms, maybe apartment, but it just doesn't work.
I know, that's when we had the 2 bed out, we take the thing, putting that out about space. Take a look at that, maybe graphs and things back. We thought if we had 2 bedrooms, just be the one tenant using a stacker and they control it themselves, but if you had 2 different tenants utilizing.
No.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, because you did mention in your application that you might want to ask for more payment in lieu of parking, so I think just figuring that out, because that ultimately is the village board.
Get to that.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I
it.
do have a question if I can. Part of, on the review, this building is proposed to pretty much, it's gonna take up about 100% of the entire lot, correct?
Pretty much is, yes.
So on the buildings to the right and left of it, I noticed on them that, you know, the exterior wall of the building will be right up against theirs. That some of the buildings have windows on their side, which now will be blocked. So in part of this, I would have consideration to consider what with this building going up, what are you obstructing to the neighboring properties? Because those windows could be bedrooms where they need to meet certain types of requirements for light and ventilation, they meet requirements for egress. And I'm not sure, I mean, we're gonna do a full review when it gets to the building stage, but I believe during the planning stage, it has to be considered what effects does this building have on the neighboring buildings?
Yeah.
And also, you know, when we actually get it to the building stage, there will be a review that's gonna be done by consultants for structural engineering and our code review. Because, you know, the other concerns when you build a building in between buildings this way is during the construction, you know, having the proper supports and all that don't cause damage to the the neighboring properties to the right and the left, because of the proximity and how close it is. And I know you're allowed to build in the village center on 100% of the lot, but usually when you're doing an infill like this, there's other considerations because you have buildings alongside this building.
Yep, I'll take a look at that. May help me with go over that. We'll do that.
Yeah, no, I think with the kind of the site work phase of this is a
Yeah,
really
it's tricky.
kind of tricky one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just given the age and condition of the buildings that are facing as well, so. All right, I think when I want to open up the public hearing here, I do actually see one hand.
It's a raised
on the
hand.
List, so, we maybe get a motion to open the public hearing on the application.
Michael Aaron's motion to open a public hearing.
Michelle Dan, second.
Any objections to that? None. I'm sorry, if anybody in the room wants to speak to this application. Okay, group. So I do see a hand, so Maria, we're gonna bring you into the meeting, and give you a moment. So when I bring you in, please introduce yourself and your place of residence for the record. And then you can speak to this application. So Maria, you are in here now, so.
Okay, now I am actually the owner of 217 Main Street. When I agreed to sell the lot to them, there is a condition that they cannot cover the windows on my building. And they have at least 6 feet. They have to be away from my building. And that is on part of their deed when they purchased that property. So Joseph was correct. They cannot build anything on top of neither buildings because they're going to block our view or the air or whatever is necessary. So that's something that it has to be considered not only with my building, but also the building next to mine.
How would that deed restrictions be? Is there, maybe that's a question for you, Taryn?
Is there a deed restriction?
I have to look at it. So thank you for making us aware of that. We'll take a look at that.
And Maria, sorry, I'm not sure if we got your first and last name for the record, so, and I think you did say that you're
It's Da Silva, DASILVA.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
All right, is anybody else in the list on any other attendees who would like to speak and use the hand raise function? I don't see any other ones. So can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Any objections to that? That motion carries. The public hearing is adjourned. I think this is like a good first step, to see where things are, look forward to see, how things develop and feedback to, I know the voluminous comments from the consultants here, so.
Yeah, very good.
Excellent. Carry on. Appreciate it, likewise. Can we have a motion to adjourn the application for this evening?
Michael Aaron's the second.
Any objections to that? There are none. Get our adjourned for this evening. We thank you.
really want to stay here.
Yeah, you can hang. Done, so. So actually, well, before we are officially done, I just want to make sure, I know we have a list of adjourned matters here. Thank you guys very much. So on this list, are there any other, any of the items that we should kind of attend to in terms of?
Yes, so I think 80 Main Street, we're still hoping we get them back into the board soon, but we're still working out the easements and, but we do want to talk to you about let's just do one big Portland, we have not heard back from the applicant, but this is the first meeting that they've missed. 171 Portland Avenue, we have heard from the applicant, they've just submitted some new information. We have to take a look at it for the July meeting, so they would still remain on that. 229 Spring Street is going back to the ZBA to finalize its variances, so hopefully then they'll be back for this board approval.
Okay, that'll be back for July or?
And possibly, we're trying to get them in front of the EAC too for the LWRP consistency, and we just need them to submit a checklist, so they do, they can. Not, we'll probably adjourn them until August. And then the last is 5 Sherman, we have not heard from them, we'd like to, and this is the third month, so we'd like to reach out to them and kind of send them that email saying, you're either gonna come back or we're gonna remove you from the agenda until you're ready to.
Okay, so this is the third meeting that they've
Yeah,
started, so
yeah.
third meeting missed, and that's just really, we try to codify that, I think 3 is a good number for the year. Okay. Any objections from the board on that?
I think so, they just submitted this stuff today, I didn't even take a look, yeah.
I was gonna mention that change back, so yeah, I'll start looking at it now, I'll send it
Right.
back, but.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think we have to look at the estimates too. With this,
all right, so we're going on that list and then put it to the meeting.
Which time, motion to adjourn?
Objections, none. Closed. Thank you guys very much.
Get on the dot. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Joe. Tonight.
Yeah, it was.